Good morning and welcome to the Morning Market Call. I'm Julie Kellett and joining us today is Chris Kellett. Thanks for being here, Chris.
Thanks for having me.
Chris is a second-year MBA student and an expert in the education field. So today, as we focus this week on international growth, we wanted to turn our perspective inward and look at some of the factors that might be making the U.S. less competitive on a global scheme. One of those components is education. So Chris, can you talk about some of the trends we've seen in the last 10 years in education?
Sure. One of the main trends that I've thought about with education is the fact that the U.S. is falling woefully short in the area of math and science students. Our K-12 and higher education systems just aren't producing the same number of students that are coming out of countries such as Japan, China, and India.
Yeah, that sounds like a problem. And in the Wall Street Journal, they just recently released an article saying that we're spending about the same amount of money as China and India, if not more. So why are we turning out less competitive math and science thinkers than some of these developing countries?
That's a really good point. And one leading educator, Joel Klein out of New York City, says that he believes that it's because education budgets are used irrationally. In some districts in New York, upwards to $25,000 are spent per student per year. To put that in context, here in Utah, only $6,000 per year on average is spent per student.
It's quite a difference.
It really is. So what he thinks is that we have to think more about ways that we can more usefully use the budgets.
Yeah.
And the main budgetary item is teacher salaries. And teacher salaries make up over 60% of most school budgets. And those salaries are based solely on tenure and the educational level of the teacher. The ability to teach and how well they teach is not included.
So there may be some misalignments when it comes to education and the goals versus the compensation of the teachers.
That's right.
So if we take this issue, this education issue and the spending issue one step higher to policymakers, they have a lot on their plate right now. They're looking at healthcare reform, rebuilding our financial institutions, energy policies. Do you think education is going to fall by the wayside, or what do you foresee?
Well, I think that education probably won't fall by the wayside because it's a real part of the American dream. It's how people are able to lift themselves up. So education won't fall by the wayside, but it just has to be reprioritized in how budgets are made and how they're spent.
So then what is the answer? If that's what we need to do, how can we accomplish those goals?
Well, one way that current education thinkers are doing it is thinking about how they can use business concepts to be more successful. And one way that they're doing that is adding school choice into how budgets are made and how students decide where they're going to go to school. In the past, you just go to your neighborhood school. But now, with schools such as charter schools becoming available, old school, regular schools in high schools and in districts around the country are having to find ways to compete with other alternatives.
Sure.
And because of this, districts such as the Boston Public Schools are now opening new schools that have specific emphases on math and science.
Okay. So you go to a high school and it's going to train you specifically in those areas.
And more importantly, you get to decide which high school you go to.
Right, right. Well, it sounds like that would be a big change for the system if that were to be implemented across the board.
It really is.
Great. Well, we appreciate your insights today, and we'll have to see what the future holds as far as education is concerned. We'll see you here next time here on the Morning Market Call. Thanks for watching.
Morning Market Call is a production of the Marriott School of Business at Brigham Young University and is made possible by generous donations from Larry Tashjian and Gary Williams. This webcast was produced by Greg Lee, Tim Hart, Julie Kellett, and Jonathan Marugi.